I have seen a lot of films starring Nicolas Cage. I have seen him in all kinds of roles. But this kind of role, this was truly unique and even unsettling. Hello everyone, I'm Jay Mere and welcome to a new review. And this time I'm gonna review the new horror movie Longlegs. And this movie is directed by Osgood Perkins and starring Micah Monroe, Alicia Witt, Blair Underwood, Kiernan Shipka and Nicolas Cage. And I was really excited to see this movie. I was really intrigued by it. And I was not really anticipating this movie at the beginning of this year. It did not make my list that I did in January. Because, say, April, May, I was starting to see some advertisement, marketing on this movie. And it actually came out of nowhere. And I was already excited for the main reason that this movie is directed by Os Perkins. And this is a director that I really admire. I really admire his work. Little fun fact, he's actually the grandson of Anthony Perkins. And you know Anthony Perkins from playing Norman Bates in the Psycho movie. But his grandson, he also did some acting jobs, but he's also a director, a horror director. And he directed a movie like The Black Goat's Daughter. I'm a really big fan of that movie. It's also known as February, My Country for example. And that movie was amazing. And when I saw the trailers, the posters of this movie, I was really intrigued and I was starting to hope that it was going to be on the same level of enjoyment as I had with The Black Goat's Daughter, because that movie was so fascinating. So I hoped The Longlegs was going to be like that. And when the movie was about to release, and when it was released, there was this whole big hype around this movie. There was a real big word to mouth hype, and everyone, most, are willing to see this movie and are actually going to see this movie. And I'm really happy that people are going to see this movie, because there was not initially a movie that you're gonna expect a hype around or a big crowd seeing this movie, so I'm really happy that this happened. However, I hope that the hype is not too big. What I mean by that is that the hype does not cause expectations for people that only can result in disappointment in the movie. I really do not hope that this is the case, because this movie is amazing. It deserves to be watched, it deserves to be talked, and I love this movie. So what is the movie about? The movie really focusing on a young agent called Lee Harker, who is played by Micah Monroe, and I think her education is just finished and she's starting to do her first jobs. First is just asking neighbors, have you seen this guy, have you seen what happened on that night, that kind of jobs. But she has a special talent, and quickly she goes into a team that is led by Agent Carter, played by Blair Underwood, to catch a serial killer that is named by Longlegs. And that's a character that is played by Nicolas Cage. I'm gonna talk about him a bit later. But I really like this story. And people are already comparing it with The Silence of the Lambs. Now, I do not really like to compare movies with older movies that much, but I can actually see why people are saying that. It's like a modern Silence of the Lambs, I guess, but it's still different than Silence of the Lambs, and that's definitely a plus. You can be like Silence of the Lambs, but not copy-paste, and that is not the case with Longlegs. Longlegs is definitely its own thing, and that's good. But the main reason why this comparison is because we also see a young agent in both movies. This time we have Lee Harker, and I really like this character. She's also a quite unique character. Micah Monroe really plays this character on a very unique and special way. It's just the way she acts, the way she moves. She has something special on her, and I really like it. It gives her a certain personality. And I really like the whole story about her catching this serial killer called Longlegs. And I'm always a big fan of a detective story with some horror elements. That's a better combination than a horror movie with some detective elements. Like some of the Hellraiser sequels, those are just shit movies. But this is a good combo. Focusing on a detective story and then adding the horror elements. That is the perfect way to do it, in my opinion at least. And Os Perkins really succeeds in that. And you can also tell that this movie is directed by Os Perkins. Because he has his own style. First of all, his movies are taking their time to develop the things for the payoff. And I don't mind that. Well, except with the second movie, that was just really boring. But with his other movies, the slow pace really benefits the story of the film. And I really like that this movie takes its time. It was really taking the time to develop all the things. The movie really gives you the pieces of the puzzle, but at the end of the movie you still have to figure out where the pieces belong in this puzzle. You have to create the puzzle yourself, and that is really cool. It's a bit similar with the Black Coat's Daughter. So in a way, it's actually like that movie. Because also that movie gives you everything you need to know, but not directly, subtle ways. And at the end of the movie you have to think about it. What just happened? Where does this fit in the story? And makes this sense? And The Black Coat's Daughter is also a movie that I give it a couple of watches, and every time I rewatch it I appreciate it more. And I really believe this movie is also a movie like that. You can enjoy it more and more if you rewatch it. You will understand it more. You will get certain things more if you rewatch it. And that's what I love about this kind of movies. That it's a movie that you really have to think about, and that's perfect. And also really what I like about his style is that he plays with the aspect ratios of the camera. Like the movie starts with a 4:3 aspect ratio. That you have your black box at the sides. I really like that, but not for the whole movie. And it was a really narrow 4:3. And I had a little fear that this was going to be for the whole movie like that, because he's an artistic horror director. But little warning, the whole movie is not like that 4:3 frame. That is only when we go back in the past. So I really like that change of aspect ratio as well. But we have to talk about Nicolas Cage as well. Nicolas Cage plays Longlegs, our serial killer. And if you don't know that Nicolas Cage is in this movie, it might take a while before recognizing him, because he really looks different. He even speaks differently. Well, I recognize his voice still. He reminded me when he spoke like in the movie Kick-Ass, when he was in that scene when he was enduring this agonizing pain. And he also had this little crack in his voice, and he was speaking like that in this movie as well. But Nicolas Cage really gives an amazing performance. He was so unsettling character, but also a very fascinating character, and I really liked seeing him play in this movie. And they do something interesting with this character that I did not expect in it to be, and that really made my experience of this movie more enjoyable, more because I did not expect in it. So all in all, I actually really love this movie, and like I said, I really have a desire to rewatch this movie a couple of times, and I will like it more and more with every rewatch. I'm very sure about this. Us really delivered another masterpiece like he did with the Black Coat's Daughter, so I'm a very happy audience member with this movie. So guys, those were my thoughts on the movie Longlegs. Please share your thoughts on the movie as well below in the comments. Would love to know what you think about this movie. And if you want to see more reviews of me in the future, always be free to subscribe to my channel, and till the next time.